Okay, so I thought I'd talk about this briefly, so let's see how well that works. I talked about this earlier. One of my earlier videos that I shot this morning on the way to work. I got into this argument with my priest over how much I swear on stage, and I was very quiet. You know, I was just taking his criticism, just listening to him, being very attentive and receptive. And I know that there was some merit to things that he said, and as a priest, he has to quote the Bible, you know? How apropos, right? That's what you would expect. But I think that I really offended him by my supposed justification of sinning, by using expletives that could have been other words at another time and place, and I don't understand that. I will never understand political correctness as long as I live. Whether it's for political reasons, religious reasons, or I'm just a candy ass and I don't understand how words work and actions are worse, because words are just things that come out of your fucking mouth. And as a comedian and as an artist, it just really, really pisses me all the way off. Because I have to deal with this enough just doing comedy for liberals. You know, it's like, now my priest is trying to make me feel guilty about it. It's like, dude, I thought that you were Orthodox. When did you decide to become Catholic on me? Like, you just suddenly went to Rome and you're like, fuck it, I'm just gonna bring back the whole guilt complex, as if she doesn't already have that enough being schizo. You see, we could write the book on how to pray. We could write the book on how to really, really connect with God on a multifaceted level, you know? It's like, these motherfuckers need prayers. They need regimented prayers that they say all the time. And one of the reasons I was attracted to the Orthodoxy was because I love the way that they worship. And this ain't anything against the Orthodox Church. I fucking love my church. And I love my priest too. I'm just mad at him right now. And I need to tell him in confession. But I really... Why did I do that? I don't know how. How could I, like, say in confession, like, you really, really pissed me off? So he's a boomer. So I'm just gonna blame it on his generation, because my parents are the same way, and like everybody that they're friends with is the same way. Most people in that generation are like obsessed with language, and they police everybody's language, and they think that Quentin Tarantino is like the devil. I told my priest about the movie Pulp Fiction. He's like, I've never seen it. I'm like, of course you haven't. It's like the greatest movie ever written about God. But yeah, so anyway, he's just a classic boomer, okay? So I keep just like dogging that generation because of their obsession with the television. But their obsession with the television led them down this path of, you know, total self-destruction. Are you gonna go faster? Could you please go faster? Because I really want to switch lanes. Go, do it. Do it. Oh no, that car's smoking. I hope it's okay. Okay, there's another car over there. I guess they're taking care of business. I hope they're taking care of business. Lord, please help them take care of business, whatever that business is. Okay. Anyway, you know that this channel is where I rant and rave. Well, I've been so conflicted about that. But the more that I think about it, I'm like, this is the devil fucking with you. Telling you that, and I know it's not the devil himself, so don't convince yourself of anything, that I'm not actually admitting, I just say that, the devil it's one of his constituents, okay? So one of these motherfuckers that works for his ass, it's like, I feel like they're like purposely putting people in my life that don't challenge me in a positive way. You know? Like, people that are just basically reiterating like everything that I've always thought about the world and about society and how people don't understand me, and it's like all they do is invalidate my experience. That's why I do comedy, period. You know, it's because there's so much that I internalize that I don't say. Like during this entire conversation, I just want to throw my cup of coffee on him. You know, I didn't do it, okay? Because I have self-control. I have self-control. That's the thing. It's like he was trying to tell me that I should like switch professions and, you know, like maybe I should quit the restaurant where I work, and, you know, because of my mouth, because I'm vulgar. Like how afraid are you of words? Like I just don't understand that. Like how could you be so concerned about a God that is that much of a fucking pussy? Like my God is not a woman, okay? So I think that my priest should stop acting like a woman, because it's just like this overly sensitive candy assery about the stupidest shit that doesn't matter. I understand that, like, yeah, I should definitely like be mindful of, you know, the language that I use and like how that could negatively impact me or other people. I get that, okay? But comedy is different. And it's not just that. This whole political correctness is just so fucking stupid. It's so fucking stupid, and I hate it. And I'm not listening to it anywhere. Like, I'm not gonna clean up my mouth for anybody. I don't care. Like, if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it for God. And I'm gonna do it because, like, you know, I'm reading His Word, and it's like transforming me, you know? I'm not gonna do it out of guilt or, oh no, I'm gonna disappoint my priest. Like, he just, like, I don't know, he just doesn't understand, like, the experience that I have. And I think that that's really shitty, you know, like, to have expectations on somebody that you haven't really, like, tried to understand where they're coming from. And so, and like, after we got into this argument, he basically, like, tried to tell me that, like, my experience wasn't any more intense than anybody else's experience, and I was just being really arrogant and all that. And that's what I've internalized all day, and I've just been, like, in and out of just, like, fucking meltdown. And I'm not gonna just say, like, oh, you're the reason why I was so upset, because I hate it when people do that, especially women. But, like, you gotta know that, like, invalidating somebody's entire life experience all because they said something that you just don't understand, that's beyond your comprehension because you've never actually thought about it, you know? Like, that does affect me because he's my priest, so I do care what he thinks, you know? Like, I look up to him in a way because, you know, he works for the church, and I think that he does a good job with his homilies, and I know that he's, like, a caring person. So you have to tell him this then. You can't be afraid of him. I mean, you're not afraid of him. I mean, obviously you've offended him over and over and over again. So that's good. Yeah. Well, I mean, this is the thing that I have such a problem with. It's like he's offended by the stupidest shit. You know? Like, if I told him, like, yeah, you're a boomer, so I don't expect you to know much. You know, you did take a COVID test. Yeah, It's like, oh, they're so woke on fucking jabs, but it's like, do y'all not realize that the government works in multiple ways? But yeah, that's the boomer thing, though. At least they're woke on the jabs. There are a lot of people that aren't. But yeah, man, He's such a typical boomer, though. Like, it is like that really abrasive, like totally condescending, complete lack of self-awareness. And you see it more with that generation than like any other generation. And yeah, I think it is the TV. It's because they all remember where they were during like the JFK assassination. I remember my parents telling me, like when 9/11 happened, they're like, yeah, this is one of those moments that you'll always remember in history. And like, I just remember, and I've always thought this anyway, especially with like the Berlin Wall, like the fact that they celebrate these kinds of things on the news and it's just like a fucking show. Like, it's obvious to me that everything's bullshit, but it's not obvious to everybody else. And it makes me sad that we're like sitting up on this cloud and everybody else is just on Earth like screaming, and they're screaming through like hashtags. That's what they're doing. And it's just so depressing because like I would give anything to explain it to them or get them to understand in a way that's like applicable to their life, but like they're all just so like zonked out with the technology that I feel like it's almost impossible to reach them. But here's the thing, another thing that I have to talk about. It's like my priest tried to make me feel guilty for the fact that I'm funny, you know, or that, oh, I'm funny in a vulgar way. Oh, so I'm defiling people or whatever. It's like they choose to listen to that. If they're watching comedy, they choose to listen to that. So that's complete crap. I mean, he's just talking out his ass about, you know, an art form that he doesn't understand, a profession that he doesn't understand, a way of thinking about language and the way that shapes our reality that he obviously doesn't understand, and then completely invalidating my life experience in relation to my schizophrenia, all because he got offended and all butthurt because I told him that, like, I think that God wants me to be myself. And if, like, myself at that particular moment is swearing, then that's who I've got to fucking be, bitch. You know? And, of course, I didn't use these choice words. So it's not like I can't ever censor myself. But I don't think that God wants us to do that. I think that is one of the disagreements that I have with a lot of religions, not just my religion, but I mean, I think discipline's a good thing, but I don't think that God wants us to just like make ourselves miserable all because we think that there's some sort of virtue in that, because that also gets really arrogant and egotistical, you know? And so like I tell people that I fast, but it's not because I want people to like put me on a pedestal or anything like that. I mean, if anything, they don't. They just think it's weird. They think I'm in a cult. Oh no, maybe I am in a cult. Maybe I am. But I don't know. I really don't like abrasive people. And I remember like when I met my priest, like he kind of rubbed me the wrong way, but I was just like, you know, you have to get over this. Like, just because you don't like somebody's personality, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't like give him a chance. But he just keeps breaking my little heart, you know? I know it's not his problem that I'm mentally ill and that I have a crying problem or whatever. He tried to tell me, oh, well, I'm sure everybody cries. Like, what a piece of shit, dude. I mean, seriously, I don't care. I will fucking say it. Like, anybody that invalidates your experience like that and then tries to act like you're the one that's wrong, you have to tell him this. You have to tell him. He would appreciate it anyway. You know that he would. Because he's not a bad guy. He's just doesn't have self-awareness. You know? Yeah, dude. It's crazy though, because like there's so many things that he says that like I do agree with, you know? But it's just, he's really demanding though. Like, trying to convince people to go to church services that maybe they're like not wanting to go to because they have a life outside of church. But I get the purpose of it though. Like, I love going to church, but like, don't make me feel guilty because I didn't show up, bitch. You know? It's like, once again, what are you, Catholic? You know, it's like, I don't want this. I don't want this guilt. Like, I've felt guilty my whole life. I felt guilty for not being normal and not having this like boring ass plebeian sheep experience, right? And I felt like there was something horribly wrong with me. And so I drank a fuck ton of liquor in order to try to feel like I was normal. And needless to say, I made a fuck ton of mistakes. Quite literally. I fucked a lot of people, that's what I mean. And it was not even enjoyable. At least not for me, anyway. But I chose to do all of it. Because I was trying to be normal. I was trying to fit in. And really, the only thing that makes me feel normal in this shit world is marijuana. So whenever I'm like high or whatever, I feel like I can function. Because I don't even feel high. I feel like I'm level or something. But that's the thing, like, if you don't know, you don't know. Like, if you don't understand like how bad this world is, you know, you're probably not an artist. You're probably like not needing God as badly as somebody that is like clinically mentally ill. So it just aggravates me. You have to tell him this. Just write it down. Write down what you want to say. Because I know you get tripped up. You're going to have to figure this out with comedy too, because this is like getting ridiculous. It is! Oh my goodness. Yeah, dude. I got up there and I had all this stuff prepared and I didn't know what to do. I felt like I wasted like a whole minute not knowing what the fuck to do. It was so dumb. And I just hate that about myself because I have so much material and I have so much crap in this car right now. It just pisses me off. Like, there's too much stuff going on and I hate it. I hate it so much. See, this is why people like me do stuff that a lot of people consider wrong, you know, like off ourselves or smoke weed or like go off into the woods and just crawl under a rock and die, you know, because like people don't understand, like when you've been chewed up and spit out by the world, that's like the one thing that makes sense out of it. The one thing that I do that helps me to like understand my purpose in this shit world is like now God ordained authority figure in the church is telling me, oh, feel guilty about that. Like you should feel bad because, you know, you curse. You know, because this is such a wonderful world we live in, you know? I mean, here's the thing. You could always, like, use the Bible as a weapon. I mean, you can do it with demons. So why wouldn't a person in the church, and you see this a lot with Protestant churches, but I mean, I feel like he's doing it. I don't feel like the Orthodox Church is doing it, but it's like he's trying to make me feel like I'm a total piece of shit, horrible, horrible Christian because I love the word motherfucker. I do. It's a great fucking word, dude. It's like the greatest word ever. And it makes me sad that, like, people like him and, like, my parents and, like, most people couldn't watch my comedy because they're too candy ass, you know? It's like the message is still there. That's what I'm saying, like the movie Pulp Fiction, like the God message is all there. But if you're, like, sensitive to swear words, oh my god, swear words, ugh. I mean, it's, like, so ridiculous because it doesn't mean anything. Like, look at what they're doing with words now. These same words that we used to use, 10, 20 years ago. Oh no, we can't say them anymore. We can't say them. Why? Because these candy asses don't like it anymore. Like, what does it matter? They're just words. George Orwell, he wrote this whole book about that. How, like, language will, like, change things. Like, change the way people think about things. And so, like, I understand that it's powerful, but that's what he doesn't get. Is, like, I understand that. As a comedian, I fucking understand that. And yes, sometimes I need swear words. I need to be vulgar. Because fuck this world. And I know that a lot of people feel that. And I know that it's therapeutic for them to hear somebody say that. Which is why it's necessary. Rather than trying to be this goody two-shoes Christian, you know? Fuck that. Originally, Batty Four Shoes. I've said this before, and I'll say it over and over and over again. I don't care how unfunny it is. It's true shit. Batty Four Shoes. 2023. Well, you never want to be goody two. Exactly! Who wants to be like that? That's why people turn away from Christianity. That's why people turn away from conservatism. Because nobody wants a fucking hall monitor. Nobody wants that shit. And this is funny. This is actually funny. And this is what I wish I could do on stage, and I can't. It's so annoying. But I know that I can just take all of this and just ball it up and use it as some sort of, you know, bouncy ball or something. You could, yeah. But it's funny how people would be so threatened by this. Like, just me being emotional. You know? But it's like, people are allowed to be so hurtful. That's why you have to say something. Because he's going to keep saying things like that to people. I mean, obviously. He doesn't think anything of it. God, I feel like a bitch. Stop it! This is like constructive criticism. Where he said something that was totally fucking hurtful and it validated you like that. I mean, how many times have you had to deal with that shit? Fuck that. Not from a member of the church. That's not acceptable. That's not acceptable for somebody to deny, like, somebody else's life experience all because they don't get it, dude. That's not right. He needs to work to, like, understand that person's spiritual condition, you know, rather than demanding that they be on another level of it. Oh my god, yeah. Yeah, like I said, I stopped saying GD. Like, every once in a while it slips, but for the most part, I don't say it. I still take the Lord's name in vain sometimes. I still say the word motherfucker, bitch, shitbag, shithole, shitface, you know? Swear words are funny. And if God made me a comedian, then I'm gonna be funny. Yeah, I can be funny in multiple ways. Why the fuck can't I use swear words? It's just so weird to me. Like, something so minute like that is so offensive to people. That just makes no sense. You know that children are being raped, right? Like, literally raped. Children, not just whiny women that are lying, but actual children. That's what's happening to them. And you're worried about a fucking word? Be a man. Be a man and go kill somebody. Please. Kill somebody that deserves to be killed. Apparently there was some motherfucker in the comedy scene, some dude that raped this 11-year-old girl as a pastor in Utah and was like dating somebody in the comedy scene, was like doing comedy, and I don't know. I'm glad to hear that like people in my comedy troupe or whatever, they're not cool with that sort of thing, because they were telling all the other comics about him, describing him, so he's not allowed back. Now, if only they get woke on all the trans stuff, right? That would be better. But yeah, man. Sorry, I just keep going off about the same thing. But it just like legit bums me out that, you know, like, I felt like I was mistreated by my priest, and, you know, I always ask myself the question, am I, like, taking things too personally? Am I overly sensitive? Am I making a big deal about nothing? Is this just some vagina shit? You know, like, am I freaking out because, like, I just freak out? You know, it's just what I do. Because I think that a lot of times, like, men can be, like, just total assholes to women, and then women will start crying, and it's like, they just figure that she's crazy, you know? Well, maybe we are, or maybe men are just assholes. Who knows? Maybe it's a little bit of both, and maybe both sides need to take a little bit more responsibility. But I feel like with both genders, it's like neither one of them are willing to accept the fact that maybe they're at fault some of the time. But, you know, I love criticism. I love the fuck out of it. It's great. But it's one thing to criticize somebody, and it's another thing to just tear them down, to, like, tell them that, like, their existence is just dumb, you know? Like, the way they look at things is just dumb, and, like, they don't know what they experience. They don't know what they've been experiencing for 37 years. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. You just tell yourself that you experienced that. I mean, yeah, it is probably a self-fulfilling prophecy to some extent. I'll bite.